When Michael Collins got the Anglo-Irish Treaty signed, he knew he was bound to die soon. In fact, he stated that, "I tell you I have signed my death warrant." Michael Collins' leadership brought social and political changes to Ireland. Michael Collins' leadership and legacy in Ireland will be sure to last forever. According to World Book Online, the British Empire was a world power at its peak. At its geographical peak in the 1920s, it covered about 13 million square miles. It also held about 450 million people and occupied 20% of the world's population at the time. In its prime, it had land on every continent, and the sun was always shining on the British Empire on at least one place. Clearly, the British Empire was a very powerful world power at its peak. Next, the British treatment of the Irish was extreme. As stated by BBC, there were mass evictions. In fact, the British evicted over 500,000 Irish from 1846 to 1854. Another example of extreme treatment was the potato famine that was between the years of 1846 and 1851. 1/8 of the Irish population died because of the famine. The British did not export their supplies right, and so they did not help Ireland's people food-wise. The British were taking Irish grain and exporting it for money, while people in Ireland were starving. The British government should have been willing to treat the famine crisis in Ireland as an imperial responsibility and to bear the costs of relief after the summer of 1847. Also, the British stopped their soup kitchen, which in July 1847 was feeding 3 million people a day. With that, the British also paid extremely low wages to the Irish, so the Irish couldn't even pay for the now inflated food. According to Irish history links, many peasants that were starving consumed their rotten potatoes, and they got cholera and typhus and died. The British would not help out the starving and sick people, and that is another example of how the British treated the Irish people bad. As reported by BBC, it is thought that about 1 million people died during the famine. According to Irish history links, many Irish traveled to America, Canada, and Australia. The ones that survived got medical treatment and food. As stated by BBC, it is thought that about 2 million Irish people immigrated during the years of the famine. On top of all this, the British thought of the famine in Ireland as punishment from God for not being Protestant. Also, the British Protestants thought of Irish Catholics as something less than human. In addition, the British had job discrimination on the Irish people and wouldn't let them get jobs in England. To sum up, the Irish most definitely had their reasons for wanting freedom. According to World Book Online, the British kept delaying Irish political self-determination and treating them badly. The British kept vetoing all of Ireland's attempts to break away, and they were taxing the Irish. Also, the British forced the people from Ireland to fight in World War I. In conclusion, the British were not willing to give Ireland its freedom, and they were not fair to the Irish people at all. As reported by Encyclopedia of World Book Biography, Michael Collins was an Irish freedom fighter even in his early life. He was born October 16, 1890, to a successful farmer. Michael John Collins and Mary Ann O'Brien were his father and mother. When they got married, Mary Ann O'Brien was only 23, while Michael John Collins was 60. They had 8 kids, and Michael Collins was the youngest. He was inspired by his teacher, Dennis Loynes, who was a part of the Irish Republican Brotherhood, which was a group that wanted a free Irish state. He was also influenced by Arthur Griffith, who was the founder of Sinn Féin. In 1909, he became a member of the IRB. To conclude, even as a child and a young man, Michael Collins was a revolutionary. Michael Collins' leadership brought political and social changes to Ireland. Michael Collins signing the Anglo-Irish Treaty brought social changes to Ireland. Before Ireland was free, the British treated them very bad, and the Irish were being highly taxed. When the Irish became a free state, they didn't have to pay taxes to British. Also, according to Wikipedia, with the split of the IRA brought assassinations, kidnappings, and terror to the Irish Free State. Also, according to BBC, families were divided, brother on brother, father on son, wife on husband, due to the individuals of the families being of the 2 different factions, pro-treaty faction or the anti-treaty faction. To conclude, the signing of the Anglo-Irish Treaty brought good and bad social changes to Ireland. After Michael Collins had signed the Anglo-Irish Treaty, the clash between religions in North and South Ireland increased. According to Proud to be Irish, the main religions of Ireland are Catholic and Protestant. North Ireland was Protestant because they followed Great Britain and their church. South Ireland was Catholic because they were independent Ireland. Before Ireland was under control by Britain rule, Ireland's main religion was Catholic. When Britain took over, Ulster's people followed Britain's lead and became Protestant. Irish Unionists and Loyalists considered themselves British, and they were Protestant and were not willing to break away. On the other hand, Irish nationalists and Republicans who were mainly Catholic wanted Ireland to leave British control. As stated by Wikipedia, 3,000 Catholics died in the end because of the strife between the two religions. To sum up, with the signing of the Anglo-Irish Treaty brought an increased amount of fighting between the two religions of Catholic and Protestant. After Michael Collins signed the treaty, there was a violent civil war between North and South Ireland. According to BBC, the war happened between the years of 1922 to 1923. In the end, South Ireland became a free state and North Ireland became Ulster and it stayed with Great Britain. About 4,000 people died in the Civil War. Also, the IRA divided due to the forming of the two different factions, the pro-treaty party and the anti-treaty party. According to Wikipedia, in the IRA, Michael Collins was a leader of guerrilla units, and although Michael Collins and the IRA sought out peaceful methods in general, they almost never worked, and they both became known as terrorists. As you can see, the Civil War in Ireland was a terrible event, and Michael Collins had a leading part in it.